So welcome everyone. I'm very happy to take part in this amazing event, and it's like it's motivated me to. Someone muted me, but I'm again unmuted. To come back to the art and the resilience as such, because I work very long time in that field, and it's a different thing to work in a field and a different thing to share the outcomes of it. So I had to prepare a little bit. That was a very nice journey for me. So I know we have in our group the musician, the psychologist. This I know about the Agnes. And who are the other people? Whom are you? It's like, are you also connected to psychology and art? Irgo and
Yeah. It's just I rename my account.
Yeah, just if you could just give me overview to whom I'm talking. It's like so I can refer to your experience.
I am Iringo, and I am a social educator, but actually at the moment teaching pedagogy at the University of Art here in Târgu Mureș.
Super.
And I like doing my way of art. It's not something qualified or something important, but it gives me
it's always important.
a lot of joyful moments and relaxation.
That's very short because we have 20 minutes. Yes, please.
I am Tunde, and I'm working at the Outward Bound of Romania. I'm a program coordinator there.
Okay.
I have finished the social pedagogy at the university, and I'm very keen on this kind of topics about psychology and all kind of these things.
Thank you. And you did?
Okay. Hi, I'm Judith, and I'm also, amongst other, social educator. I'm also really inside positive psychology, how the brain is working, also from the very youngest ones until the older ones. My last job I did was in order to work in French schools in social, in schools with a special social background in order to teach the small ones German and German culture in a very interactive way, so that we really have a global approach. Yes.
Thank you.
Art.
And the last, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just really, I would like to just feel you. And Mona, you are.
Hello, everybody. I'm Mona from Hungary, and originally I'm a special needs teacher, and I used to work with the youngest for a short time with art therapy too. And now I'm working for the Armenian Academia, and this organization is the coordinator of this wonderful heart project, and I'm the project manager of the heart.
Thank you. Nice to meet you then. So I will jump very quickly to sharing. I guess everyone said something, isn't it? Yeah. So I will try to squeeze. So I will talk a little bit, if you don't mind. And it's like, you can always, if you really struggle with something, what I'm saying to you, just let me know. So then you can, I can try to explain what I mean by something, what I'm saying. Just I want to make, okay, should work like that. It's clear you see everything. So how art making builds resilience, that's a topic. And of course, you know, my journey was like, okay, what a resilience is, especially in art. And for me, what is very important to underline that this is dynamic process, and that's a negotiation between individuals and environments. I'm sure you know it, just for me to introduce my way of thinking, because I guess this topic is super open, no? The aim, of course, it helps in recovery and to prepare ourselves to face more difficulties. And of course, art making is just a very little factor of a resilience, isn't it? So, I mean, whatever I share with you right now is just a piece of a very big painting, okay? So I just extracted from that. So that's very important to understand that. This is more or less the map of what I would like to share with you. The topic was art making, but art making, to me, it's also perception of art. How we perceive the art, it's also making the art. So I will talk about the perception of art and creation, which is art making individually and collectively, and then as a fusion of a perception and creation to go into community-based art. And of course, all of this is from the individual point of view and might become a group kind of joint feeling, right? And so I will start with a perception of art. And we already have some people that are quite well familiar with the brain. But what is very important that whatever we perceive and whatever we see, so let's continue.
Okay.
Let's take what we have, because that's quite important. What I wanted to share, I will just jump into the topics. So really what we see makes us that we feel that we are there. So because of these neural neurons, whatever we perceive, we watch a film, if we see kind of landscape, somehow if it's painted, our body perceives this as we would be there. So that's very interesting to be aware of it, what we are surrounded by. And by that, I would like to invite you for a very short exercise. You will just see in a second several images. And the one image, I would ask you to choose the two images. One would be the one that you don't feel good with, and the one that, okay, it's neutral, or maybe it's okay for you, okay? And those images, they are from A to H. Look at them. This is image A. Are you good with it, or makes you not good feel? No? Another, that's a B. That's a C. That's a D. E. F. G. H. Just pick the one that makes you feel okay, it's neutral, or even better. And the one that makes you feel, well, not too good, that you don't feel comfortable with it. All right, you have those.
Okay.
Anyone didn't manage to choose, or you managed to choose two different images? Just yes, you can say yes or no. So we, yes. I mean, this is only very quick exercise showing you that's super important what we choose in our surrounding. Which image, a photo on our wall, the image on the street, what film we watch, it's super important because it makes us feel differently. We talk about the resilience, and we talk about feeling like building the resilience within us. And the surrounding, our perception, makes us feel also. So this is part of the action. And this here about the neuroscience, I mean, probably you totally know about that the aesthetics, I mean, we react to the art that like we would react to the food or to our mates, to our partners. I mean, it can provoke the feeling of joy and pleasure, and also it may provoke the feeling of kind of anger or a kind of anxiety. So it's also very important. Here we are talking about the beauty. Once I was being a very interesting lecture, one neurologist, he was saying, yes, when we see asymmetrical things and disharmonic things, unconsciously, our mind, even though we are not aware of it, want to run away from the space. It's like unconsciously we stimulate adrenaline, and then our body wants to go away. So it might be very often that we are facing something that's not in our perception too beautiful. We need to squeeze within us the feeling of really escaping from this place. And it's like if we are coping in everyday life with the feelings like, okay, I have to squeeze this, squeeze that, and squeeze something else. And then suddenly we also squeezing the images that we are surrounding by, because in fact, naturally we would like run away, then of course our resilience is less than we are not building it. So by changing it, we can influence. This is a very interesting concept also that we're aware of, that there's also resilient art as such. And the resilient arts, it's like wants to make art beautiful, which means goes into this aesthetic form, not the political, not the action. So it's just the thing that we're aware of it, that there's also part of the art that really wants to give to the society. They say also that the artists, they have this responsibility to share with the society the beauty. then the whole society can grow together. So this is the perception of art, which is also the information, right? So like what we can do with art, we can inform people about some scientific things. We can inform people how to be good. We can be informed ourselves what is interesting in the world by searching for different images or a music or a theater. I'm talking mainly about the visual art because this is my domain, but also what I'm saying is a bit universal in that sense. So, I mean, in terms of a COVID, I think you've been talking about that. You can experience and see how different art is around us and how many different products and music and concerts and graffiti are there, because this is the way how we try to cope with the different situation, isn't it? And also art as such is a call to action. So by the performance, by the art that we visually create, by the music, by the speech, we also move into action. As a person who is like walking on the street and we just perceive art, we can go to the ways that may motivate us to grow. So we as an audience, we can, by choosing the places where we go, we can stimulate our being as such. That's super important. So that was the one side, the perceiving art. And very often it's not mentioned anywhere because we are focused on mainly on creating, but perception is part of a creation. So creation individually. First, individually, I want to talk about the two processes, which is like intrapersonal and intermediary, and which is like, in that sense, what I'm saying individually, intrapersonal, this is me and my art. So this is me and my book that I'm writing. This is me and my music that I'm doing. This is me and my painting that I'm painting. So it's me individually connected to the arts, this process. So this is somehow inner and outer dialogue. And there we have this process intermediary in the same time, because we are not in a bubble, we are not isolated, we are always in a context. We are always doing the art in a context of a city, of a studio. We are surrounded by the sounds, by the colors, by the temperature. All of this is important factor in building the art and the resilience with it. And I want also to mention the two interesting powers, which I, as an art therapist, I use, and that's quite important. Also you as a work as a social educator, this is the power of disassociation and association, right? So whenever I create something, I draw or I write, I put the things out there. So I disassociate my problem, I put on a plate, I try to look at it, I draw, I paint, I change it, so I'm disassociated from the thing. And then whenever I change it, and I transform this image into something what I would like more to have, then I associate it again into me. I try to feel it again, so I integrate the new feeling inside of me. So mainly in the art therapy, what I'm playing and not playing the working, so this association process is super important to be aware of. Whatever you do, you disassociate things, you put it out, and then you integrate it. So you look from another perspective, and then you feel again, you put back this perspective. I want to provoke you a little bit. I want to look at the art creation, art making from 2 points of view. One is a Frida Kahlo. She was suffering amazing, isn't it? So the Frida Kahlo was suffering badly, like mentally, and she was creating massively. And her life was quite long, was not a very short one. So somehow she was building her resilience through art. So that's a nice example. She was saying, painting has made my life full. No, painting has replaced everything. I think, Rui, your phone is calling.
Oh, sorry.
No worries. But then, so that's nice thing. But I think the art is not only nice, and this I want to show you. There we have also example of Virginia Woolf. She's a writer. And what I want to underline here is that, of course, as you know, Virginia Woolf committed suicide at the end. And she was writing amazing pieces of art. And she was there in a bubble, individually, driving there. And this didn't help her really. And this is super important. This is not very nice list. This is the page of like artists who committed suicide. It's just to also give you this perception. Whenever we are staying alone in our own bubble and we go into the art, into the language can also hurt. The language can be also harmful. The language could be also putting us into the shadows of ourselves, not really building this up. So I mean, talking about the art, we have those two things. It can build us up, but also it can like froze us in some state of mind. This is very important. So for example, that's why I say creating together in a dialogue. Whenever I work with the inpatients, and mainly you have experience, they listen to the music, which is like, or they create the music, which is really down. Of course, they disassociate the things out there. It's really nice. But if they don't transform it, if they don't change it, if they don't add another sound to it, they will remain in the space of the shadow and like not feeling well. So that's why dialogue and togetherness in art, in resilience building is very important. And then that's why in this dialogue, I was saying to you that there's this intrapersonal, so me and art, intermediary, me and context, but there's also the interpersonal. So what we say in art therapy, there is this triangle. It's me, it's art, whatever it is, it's a book, it's a painting, whatever, and there's another person on a group of people. And then we work in this triangle. So it's very interesting dynamic whenever we talk about the art and healing as such, right? Of course, I can talk a lot about this. Let's go further on and see what's there. So the visual expression becomes a language, right? The language, the two people can talk to each other. This is music, this is book, this is everything. And this is super important to be aware of that. And then this process does not focus on the solidarity of a creator, but contrary, it opens dialogue with the others people. And through the art, we can make a very simple conversation. We can ask questions, discuss, disagree, and reflect. And here I have a little exercise to you. Are you familiar with like a...
3 minutes, okay?
Ah, la, la, la. So
Sorry.
it was the example of open question, visual open question, and visual close-ended question. So visually, you can discuss, you can provoke the open visual question and closed-ended question. So these are several examples here, which I wanted to show you. What's very important when we work with art, we go through a defensive processes. And here I wanted to illustrate some of the processes that are defensive, that are protecting us to get to the things that are painful for us. Sometimes they're okay, and it's better not to work with them if they are not ready to cope with the reality. Whenever we are ready, we can go and work with it. And I saw amazing things, how through the art, through the music, through the painting, you can go over these defense mechanisms and open your life. This is a simple, like on a one face, which is illustrating different coping mechanisms here. Like, yeah, you can read it. Another one I would just recommend you the cope cards. Later on, I can send you the link, which is an amazing illustration. Here I wanted to show you, this was the poster, which was for Global Congress of Psychotherapy and Psychiatry, showing the process of our inpatients in our clinic, which is like, I mean, in art, we are looking for the evidences, and evidence is not easy in healing through art, isn't it? So evidence-based practice is still developing. I think the best results are in Great Britain still. I mean, a really nice association of art therapists is there. But definitely in our practice, what we could see by renaming, rechanging this disassociated objects, and we could change the perception of the reality. But whenever there was the young person coming back to the suicidal attempts, we could immediately notice that they are again back to the not a good state of mind. So I mean, this was very important part of the treatment. I'll not go further on, just let's go there. What is a building resilience through art making? So it's improving individual coping mechanisms, distraction from negative thoughts, relaxation, mediation between inner and outer worlds, which I was talking about you, expression of difficult feelings and transforming them. And this is very important. Reducing depression by improvements in flow and spontaneity, which is important, building positive identity. I mean, there are lots of examples, how can we get to know ourselves, right? Through the art. Awakening physical and mental activity, building social capital, which is important because as we do that in a group, what helps? Because you want to work with the people and you want to do it well. So what helps it's a richness of resources, which is the equipment and space. And it's evidence-based practice that really the space matters. So if you work with the youngsters, whoever it is, or with yourself, really take care what resources you have. And if you have some of them, the surroundings, simple but tidy, harmonic, respected and free from interruptions, time, to have enough time, safety, if possible, free articulation. So you can talk about the stuff you do, but you don't have to necessarily do that. It's important to have a choice. As incorporating the elements of culture of a client, very often we just take a person and that's it. But the person is surrounded by other contexts, and art should be like hosting this whole context. Promotion of mature coping strategies, like a humor. Humor is amazing defense, mature defense kind of strategy, which is helping coping with difficult feelings. To store the outcomes of being aware of and here and now, so social roles, so my role, the other roles, who is in a group, it's very important. To store the outcomes of the work, like record them, this is very important, and to look back and review the process if it's regular.
I'm sorry, Dagna.
Yeah.
We have Sandra waiting to get in.
Just the last thing, it's a community-based art, the resilient kit, it's very nice. This was the Art of Resilience exhibition. And this is the one artist designed in the kind of kit, how to design the house, which was in a ruin, in a kind of resilient way. So there are the links, you can look at it later on. Thank you very much. I'm sorry for my kind of absence for a while.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry for the time is really short. Thank you very much.